All right. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for joining us all here today. Today's shiur should be Le'ilun Nishmas, our dear friend Menachem ben Yisrael Yaakov, as well as my dear aunt Rivka Bas Gavriel Tzvi, and for Zaidi, Reb Shmuel ben Yosef Dov HaKohen, and the Refuah Shalema Bekarav Mishalom ben Sarachol, Miriam Basara, and Yair Yershia ben Chaya Atara. On that last name, Yair Yershia ben Chaya Atara, I learned this weekend that Baruch Hashem is back in yeshiva. He's recovering very, very well. He's doing amazing, and I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, today we are on page 219 in the art scroll, for those who are following along. And today, we are covering the seventh category to which Bitachon applies. And this is the supreme goodness of the world to come, the Olam HaBa, the supreme goodness that Hashem gives us is Olam HaBa. Now, you're going to see in a minute that it's similar to the sixth category, but with a slight twist to it. And we're going to see that just here in case that's running through your mind. So here we go. Now we present the explanation of how Bitachon applies regarding the seventh category. And this is the category of supreme reward that Hashem gives in the world to come. It shows kindness from Hashem to the chosen people, to the treasured people. Not according to the measure of their deeds, meaning He's not giving it to you as a measure, a reward system of like, you do one deed, I give you a partial space in Olam HaBa. No, not according to that. He says, not according to the measure of the deeds, but with an abundance of goodness that is immeasurable. This is different than the sixth part. The sixth category to which Bitachon applies, we learned that even though we can't repay Hashem, because the goodness that He gives us, the kindness that He shows us every single day is so much more than what we do for Him, and all the mitzvahs and ma'is and tovim that we do. But in the sixth category, Hashem says, the Rav Av says that Hashem is still giving us some kind of a measure. Maybe it's 100 to 1, 1,000 to 1, whatever there is. There is a kind of a ratio of how much schar and Olam HaBa you earn based on the mitzvahs, even though you are indebted to Him. But Hashem still gives you based on a ratio. Here, the difference is nothing to do with the ratio. Hashem is giving it to the people who love Him, as you're going to see in a minute, out of just a love and a kindness that Hashem gives you. Nothing to do with how much, how little, just because Hashem loves you, and that's it. Hashem, the appropriate manner of relying on Hashem regarding this special reward in Olam HaBa, that first one should engage in the means of spiritual growth that can bring him to the levels of the Hasidim, these pious people, and who are worthy of receiving this special reward from Hashem in His kindness. So what we should do is we should strive to be on levels of the tzaddikim before us who did receive schar Olam HaBa, and you saw that they received it, to try to get to their level. That is, one should practice the traits of Parishus, which is abstinence, who despise the unnecessary pleasures of this world. Now, the parish, the Parishus that you practice to different levels, that you're despising material stuff. The idea over there is he partakes of whatever material aspects of this world are needed for serving Hashem, but doesn't value them as pleasures of this world for themselves, meaning for him. Meaning he takes those pleasures and he enjoys them because of that. He enjoys it because Hashem gave it to him, so he's enjoying that. But he doesn't yearn, he doesn't want every single day more and more luxuries and pleasures of this world in his life. He should thus banish from his heart his love of this world and of the preferences of it, and replace it with the love of Hashem. The idea over here is you should remove yourself as much as you can from worldly pleasures to put forth your ability towards Hashem. Understanding, though, when you're detaching yourself from this world, it's a level that we've seen before. We've seen by different tzaddikim. We saw by Yeshua ben Tzaddik. You saw that where he was on a level where he understood what Olam HaBa was. Obviously, we're normal people where we have to understand that we still yearn worldly pleasures. And so he says over here that when a person does practice precious and abstinence and certain stuff, you still need to be careful. You can't push it to the point where you're going to break completely. Now, a person who practices precious is allowed to enjoy worldly matters, but his whole concept of worldly, good food, what's good food, he enjoys it, and he uses it for sustenance, but he understands that Hashem gave it to him, it should taste good, so he should appreciate it, he should continue to be able to do avodas Hashem. That's the concept that they go in with. And replace his love for Hashem, replace his love for worldly matters with Hashem. With his love, he should seek to dedicate himself to serving Hashem, and to delight in preoccupying his thoughts with him, and to detach himself from matters of this world and its inhabitants. And again, it's to remove yourself as much as you can from worldly pleasures and put forth your effort to just doing avodas Hashem. He will thus be conducting himself in accordance with the ways of the prophets and the pious ones of the old, and will come truly to love Hashem as they did. And the concept over there is that you push yourself and you get closer to Hashem by understanding that this is what the tzaddikim, the pious ones, did before us, and they got close to Hashem and they earned their spot in Olam HaBa. Then his heart will be able to be confident in Hashem, to love Hashem. That he will be granted him exceptional kindness from Hashem in Olam HaBa. The concept over here is that you have to think of it. Then when you do all this and you remove yourself, you practice precious, you do mitzvahs and masim tovim, that it's not that you're earning a reward from Hashem. It's that because you're showing your full dedication and love for Hashem, that Hashem is going to show you that love, that kindness, and give you that Olam HaBa. Now he goes on to say, he says, however, someone who deems to trust, he says, I have Bitachon Hashem, will grant him a special kindness without his engaging in behavior that is his means of becoming worthy of Hashem's love and kindness, meaning he's not doing his mitzvahs, he's not refraining from doing averos, but he still says, I have Bitachon. He says, Hu haksol v'hapesi, he's a fool and an ignoramus. V'hu doime lemisha nema aleihem. It's just like the people, they say of him, they perform actions like Zimri ben Soli, who was the Nasi of Shevet Shimon, and he sinned by doing Averis with a Moavi woman. Pinchas came and killed him, and for that he was rewarded from Hashem. Eternal kindness, eternal goodness, that was the Olam HaBa. So he says over here, the example is people want to do Averis like Zimri, but they want to get the schar like Pinchas got. Rav Av points out an additional characteristics of those who are worthy of his extra reward in Olam HaBa. He brings a few examples. The identifying traits of the people who have reached this exceptional level for love for Hashem include that they teach those who wish to serve Hashem how to properly perform mitzvahs, masim tovim, how to daven, how to do the right thing. And they exhibit acceptance of their lot even in times of challenge and distress. That these people, that even though times are tough, they still have an undefined love for Hashem. And that they view any action related to fulfilling the mitzvahs of Hashem as being easy to perform. As even the most difficult actions of mitzvah performance are considered easy in their eyes. Why? Because they have a love for Hashem. By Avraham Avinu, you saw he was tested. Take Yitzchak to that Kedar, and he did it out of no questions asked. It was love for Hashem, even though it was a tough concept to follow. By Hanani, Mishal, and Azariah, they were thrown into a fiery furnace by Nebuchadnezzar because they didn't bow down, and they stood over there and they purposely went in public and did not bow down to him. And to his idols over there. And what did they do? They threw him into a fiery pit. Hashem brought a nace, and they didn't get burned. Daniel, in the incident of Daniel, who was part of the high courts, and he was thrown into a lion's pit because he used to daven 3 times a day. And the other people over there in the court that were jealous of him, they didn't like him, and they put out a 30-day decree that whoever prays to any other god or any other person besides the king themselves for the next 30 days is going to be thrown to a lion's pit. And of course, he continued to daven 3 times a day to Hashem. They threw him into a lion's pit, and he was spared. Hashem made sure that he wasn't killed, he wasn't harmed. Vasar Haruga Malchus, and the instance of the deaths of the 10 martyrs. Over there, we just had was by Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva was sitting over there, and they came over there. And they were burning them, and they were killing them. And Rabbi Akiva, when he was being tortured, and his skin was being combed with a hot iron, he yelled out. He yelled out to Hashem, and he thanked Hashem. And his Talmidim asked him, says, I don't understand. They were crying. How are you in such a time, so much pain? How are you doing that? How are you able to thank Hashem? He says, my entire life, I was waiting for the opportunity to love Hashem unconditionally. Now, I received this opportunity to love Hashem unconditionally. Should I not take this opportunity? Should I not use it to time to thank Hashem for everything? And that's what he did. Rav Av explains why such people are so worthy of this special reward and the immeasurable goodness in Olam HaBa. He says, anyone who chooses to accept death in order to remain loyal in the service of Hashem, anyone who is willing to kill himself on Kiddush Hashem, rather than to save his life through disloyalty, meaning by bowing down to idol worship, we have so many times in history. V'harish min ha'asha, or who in loyalty to Hashem chooses poverty over wealth. People have abandoned their countries, their home, their money, to run away into exile from their leaders of their country who forced them to not be Jewish. V'acholim min habrias, or illness over health, meaning over there people who chose illness, meaning they went to war, they chose to go against the country who forced them, and they hurt them. That's the illness. Some people say also that the illness versus health is where people choose not to utilize methods of healing when they're sick that are against Judaism, meaning that they might say, if you bow down to this idol, they use holistic stuff that are clearly against Yiddishkeit. So these people who chose, I'd rather be sick than go that route. V'atzara min hashalva, to distress over tranquility, people who put themselves into stress, v'nimsa l'din haboyer v'ratza b'gzerasai, and deliver themselves to Hashem's judgment in the content with His decree. Whatever the decree is, they go to Hashem, and that's fine with it. They're cool with it, because this is what Hashem wants for them. Those are the people. Ra'uhu lechesed haboyer alav b'noim ha'olam HaBa. Those are the people that we explained over here, and so many more, who are worthy of having this special kindness, a special love from Hashem, and they receive the sweetness in the world to come, this Olam HaBa. Asha Amar Alav HaKasav, where the pasuk says, "Lahanchel hava yesh v'tzareseim amale." I have what bequeathed, that gives abundance to people, to those who love me, and I shall fill their storehouses. That Hashem tells them that if you do your part unconditionally, though, with full love, I'm gonna fill your storehouses. That's talking about Olam HaBa. That's the eternal storehouse of kindness. V'amar. It also says further, it says, no eye except yours, Hashem, has seen what He will do for those who awaits Him. V'amar, how abundant is your goodness that you have hidden away for those who fear you. The hidden away is that Olam HaBa. All these psukim are showing us the proof that we are not, the midos, the mitzvahs and ma'aseh tovim that we do, it's not an accountability chart. If you try to push your best to do so, and you do it out of love for Hashem, whatever it is, you do it out of love for Hashem, that's when Hashem shows you as well a special kindness. He shows you that I have a special place for you at Olam HaBa, not because you deserve on a merit system. You did enough, mitzvahs, and that's why you earned yourself a little part of Olam HaBa. No, you showed love, I'm showing you love and kindness in return. And that is the seventh and final category before we go into Perek Hey tomorrow, as to why and where Bitachon, seventh category as to which Bitachon applies. Thank you everyone for joining us all here today, and I love you all.